and welcome back to the Orlando Adventures podcast. I'm your host Russ, and today I am joined for the second time by an absolute legend. Returning to the pod, we have got the brilliant James from Snacks, Beers and Mickey Ears. Welcome to the podcast.
How are we doing, mate? We all right? It's been too long, hasn't it?
It has. We were just saying it. It's been a year. Like, that's mad as well, because I remember that episode
crazy, yeah.
so well. I genuinely and I said this at the time, but what an episode! It was literally, it was the first time we ever spoke, like kind of face to face, and just to be able to chat with you was like chatting to a mate that I've known for years, which was absolutely amazing. I loved it, and obviously, you know, we've spoke a lot over the past year about all things Disney, Universal, Orlando, football, you name it. But mate, it's absolutely spot on to have you back. It really is.
Appreciate that, man. I'm the same, actually. You know, I've got people who I grew up with my entire life from being a baby who I speak to less than you at the moment. I mean, that's it. You know, it's funny that this is also only the second time we've spoken, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely mad. But I mean, we've obviously got a lot to talk about. We've got some fun topics to get into and a slightly different episode. But for anyone who hasn't listened to your first episode, who might not know who you are, who, as a brief overview, who is James? What is Snacks, Beers, Mickey Ears? Go for it.
Yes, I mean the full clan behind Snacks, Beers and Mickey Ears is me, my wife Sophie, and our little boy Frank. But I think it's pretty much me who's in charge of sort of the socials and YouTube and that. And you know, as with most people who venture onto your pod, we're just a family who had that one-off quote unquote visit to Orlando, which soon became a costly obsession.
Yeah, a costly hobby.
Precisely, yeah.
The way to do it. And to be fair, like, obviously wanting to document kind of your memories and all that kind of stuff in one place, so you know, is inevitably what we spoke about in the first one about why I wanted to do the page in the first place. You still plan on doing vlogs, all that kind of stuff? Still gonna?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely, yeah. I mean, that's the thing with the vlogs was sort of a bit of a, when we started doing them, it was quite a off the cuff idea. We'd just done a week in Disney World and we were just going on a cruise, and Soph for the one, she just pushed me. She was like, "Why don't you vlog the cruise?" I don't know if you ever tried vlogging with an iPhone in the middle of the ocean with no mic, but it's not ideal. It's pretty terrible, to be honest. But the next couple of trips after we did, I sort of continued doing it because I really enjoyed it. I mean, they were both with family, so this is actually going to be our first full trip where it's just us vlogging it, which I'm looking forward to, actually, because I did feel, I was listening to your Lou and Mill episode recently, and he mentioned something about how one of the trips you were like, I feel like I'm going to be impeding on people here vlogging this.
Yeah.
And I kind of felt that a little bit going with family. So to have a fresh start with a load of kit that Soph's bought me for birthdays and such over the years now is exciting.
Yeah, mate, I'm buzzing for it. And genuinely, like, that's what it's about, isn't it? It's just to be able to document your memories, but enjoy it, hopefully, as well. And hopefully it doesn't impede on your trip, and hopefully it doesn't take over. Hopefully it's just an extension of the trip. It's an extension of it, and it can become something fun, and it can be, you know, an enjoyable experience, opposed to like being like, oh, I've got to get the camera out. I've got to get the camera out again. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. The vlog works around the trip, doesn't it? Not the trip working around the vlog.
100%. And the moment it's the other way, I say this to everyone, like, it's the wrong way. It is, though, isn't it? At that point, you're doing it arguably for the wrong reason. But yeah, no, I'm very excited to get more vlogs from you, to see your trip. But we'll get into the trip a little bit later on. I got a feeling we're gonna reel some plans off. Before we get to that, in the first episode, I'm sure a lot of people heard, we talked about a certain park a lot. And there's a certain park that I know you absolutely love. I'm pretty sure I called you out about it in the first series of the vlog, said about how you love Animal Kingdom. And there was a few things I just wanted to get into about Animal Kingdom with you. And I was like, normally, obviously, with guest episode, I go through previous trips, I go through future trips, all this kind of stuff, and we will get into trips. But I just wanted to go a bit of a dive into Animal Kingdom. Obviously, you're a big fan. What is it about Animal Kingdom that, like, kind of makes it so magical for you? What is it that sets that apart from other parts?
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting, you know, when you told me this is what we were going to discuss, I gave a lot of thought to it. And it's one of those things that even though you know something, when I was actually trying to put reasons together as to why, I didn't really know. I was like, what is it about this? Because when we were going on the first trip, I've got to admit, when you include the Universal parks and the Disney parks, it wasn't sort of high up my priority list. I weren't thinking like that's going to be the one for me. I'd never seen the Avatar films, for one.
Okay.
Obviously, when you think of what's going on at studios and when you think of what's going on at Magic Kingdom and at Islands of Adventure, the rides don't necessarily jump off the page to you in the same way.
Yeah.
But after mulling over, I think there's three things. I think first of all, they've not got many attractions there, have they? The rides are quite limited. But I think what they're lacking quantity, they really do make up for in quality. I think there's a consistent through line of the rides in Animal Kingdom. I know Navi River's a bit disputed, so fair enough. You know, Navi River, people fall one side of the bracket to the other with that one. I know you're not too huge on Navi River, are you?
I'm not, but at the same time, it does get some stick, and just to back it a little bit, like, you know, I've given it stick at times for being like, it's a bit boring. But at the same time, like, sometimes you've got to take a step back, and I hold my hands up and be like, actually, like, it's not trying to be a thrill ride. It's not trying to be that. So sometimes I know I love a big ride, so I'm always going to be on that side of the fence. But at the same time, if it's not trying to be that, you can't judge it for being. Like, do you know what I mean? So that's me saying sorry to Navi River. Because I think like visually stunning.
Yeah, you know? Next level. I think that's the thing with it. I think if you take it for what it is, which, as you say, it's not a thrill ride. It's a very slow and steady ride. But if you just sit back and soak it in as you're going through it, as far as dark rides go, I mean, it's got to be up there really. When you think about dark rides, it really is. And then Everest, I feel like I don't even need to say much for. It sort of speaks for itself. Everyone who likes a thrill loves that coaster. Flight of Passage, I've never got off of that. I'll never forget the first time I rode that. If someone had told me you're gonna feel like you're gonna be in your feelings about a ride getting off it, I'd have been like, okay, give me a break. Getting off that ride, I was like, I felt something. Like, that is a special attraction, is Flight of Passage. I really do. I know people have said that I've seen a couple of people say that it could do with a bit of a recalibration at the moment now. It's getting a little bit of the soaring Epcot kind of vibe, but overall, incredible. Cali River Rapids, really great water ride. The safari, I mean, people go to Animal Kingdom just to do the safari, a lot of people. And you're going to see things on there that you're not going to see unless you literally travel to Africa. So that's next level. Dinosaur, cult classic. I know it's got a little bit of a bump recently because of, the fact that it's going. But in essence, what I'm trying to say is that when you think about Magic Kingdom or these parks that have got a huge amount of attractions, there's always a handful that you think, I'm not bothered if I ride that. Completely uninterested in that. I'm going to walk past that unless it's 5 minutes. I think Animal Kingdom's got a really consistent quality to its attractions. Yeah. I mean, it's a good shout. And I think just off the back of that, you've got some brilliant shows. I mean, we talk about Lion King, there's Nemo, we can talk about, obviously, there has been A Bug's Life, which is obviously probably not been everyone's favourite, but over the years, it's been nostalgic. It is getting replaced, and we're getting to replacing stuff in a minute. But, it's still got a lot to give. It still has a lot to give. And I think, I've said this before, but for me, the thing that grew on me about Animal Kingdom when I went on the trip in December, January, was actually, I don't feel like I need to do loads and loads of stuff in the park. And that's it, isn't it? It's actually, I just want to go and have a chill. I want to go and relax. And I'm happy to go and get a night blossom and sit down for 45 minutes, and just soak in the park. Opposed to, I need to go on Velocicoaster 6 times in a row. You know what I mean? Yeah, that was literally going to be my next point, is that I think unlike, Epcot's slightly different, because I think you could make this argument for Epcot as well. Unlike a lot of the other parks, I have quite often in the past gone to Animal Kingdom with zero intention of going near a ride.
Yeah,
I'm just going to go, I'm going to grab a coffee. I'm going to go, I'm going to grab a beer. I'm going to absolutely chill out. And one of the mornings, actually, it did make me think, one of the mornings on our last trip, Soph and Frank were having a lay-in. I just can't do lay-ins. I've got to be up at the crack of dawn.
Yeah.
So they were like, we're going to have a sleep-in, you go do what you want to do. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to have a nip across to Animal Kingdom. And I went in there and just grabbed a Joffrey's coffee and went down. There's quite a lot of seating areas by the rivers, isn't there?
Yeah.
And there were people who I'm assuming were locals. Maybe not. Maybe they were on holiday. But just sat by the river with a coffee doing work on laptops. And just chilling in the sort of vibes of it all. And I think I think you've hit the nail on the head there. I think unlike I'm not saying there's any bad vibes. There's no bad vibes in the Magic Kingdom, no bad vibes in IOA. But as far as just sitting down and spending an hour just soaking it in, I think it's perfect.
Yeah, completely agree. Yeah, completely agree. It's a good point. Obviously, in regards to where the park is at the moment, I think this is a conversation that probably might split opinion. It might divide. I'm not sure. But what's your honest thoughts on like the state of the park as it is, with the rides, with the attraction, with everything that's in there at the moment? Where do you kind of feel it's at?
As much as I'd love to be defensive here, but if you can do it for Universal Studios and kind of acknowledge that there are some issues, I feel like I've got to be honest. And there is obviously some plans. The Indiana Jones ride replacing Dinosaur, and the addition of the Encanto ride, and I think there's also meant to be a carousel as well. But they're not additions, they're replacements, aren't they? In essence, especially the Indiana Jones for Dinosaur is. And I've got to admit, it would be nice. There's nothing that they've announced that I'm out of my mind desperate to get to, and like I can't wait for that to arrive.
I think I know what you mean, and I think that, like, don't get me wrong, I think they're being clever, and this is me throwing my hat in there, like saying I think that Indiana Jones is one of those, the franchise that stood for so long that I think you can put it in and it will be fun. Like there's no worries. I think, if I'm quite honest, it's a fairly safe option. I think Encanto has been a big hitter in terms of like recent films. It's done well. It's going to work in the kind of area. Ride wise, we don't know what they're necessarily going to do. I don't think they've actually announced what the ride potentially is.
I think they have said it's going to be a dark ride. I think.
Okay.
Right. So we can expect, it's not going to be a coaster. It's going to be something, as you said, inside, fairly steady.
Yeah. So those two, and then I'm trying to think what other updates are coming. Zootopia, which is replacing Bugs Life.
Yeah, that's Bugs Life is one of those ones where I grew up watching that as a kid, so I'm a little bit hurt about that. But I also think I think that's an underused IP. Actually, I think the film's really good, and it doesn't get a lot of love anywhere, does it? Actually, in Disney World, to be honest. So to see it getting its own attraction is decent, even if it does mean that we're losing, Bugs Life.
Yeah, I think I don't know. I guess my point would be that those three things we've spoke about, they feel a little bit safe. If I'm honest, don't get me wrong. I really like Indiana Jones. I really like Encanto. I really like Zootopia. For me, they're three films and franchises that all hit me, so I'm quite happy with them. But at the same time, like, none of them are what I would argue to be a big hit. They're not something that's gonna go right. I have to drop everything. We're going to that park. If you went and dropped an Arendelle, like a frozen area somewhere, I think that the amount of people that draws is huge. The Monsters Inc. kind of area, I think that's going to draw quite a lot of people by having that. But like,
definitely,
I feel like the ones that they've gone for, it doesn't feel. I don't know if it feels big enough. I don't know.
I know what you mean.
Yeah, I don't know, but I'm just intrigued to know kind of where you stand on it. Do you also think that it needs to be? Do they need to go and put another Pandora in there to make this park complete? Do they need to do?
I think the fact is with Indiana Jones, as you say, I suppose it's an era thing, and once upon a time that would have been huge.
Yeah.
When the OG Indiana Jones films were coming out, like that'd have been a huge news. I'm not sure necessarily. Like, there is going to be people who it resonates with. I mean, I love the Indiana Jones film, particularly the original three, but I'm not sure whether there's going to be a generation of people who are completely uninterested in that and more upset that dinosaurs go in, as opposed to the fact of bringing Indiana Jones in. One of the things I did think about when I was sort of mulling this over is, if they were to do another park expansion, and this is just some of the kind of came to me, it's probably not as easy at Animal Kingdom because of obviously all the actual wildlife they have there and habitat. They can't just whack another couple of acres in there if it means they're going to be taken away from the animals that are, say, on the safari.
100%. Yeah.
So I mean, I did think, now they've got Asia, they've got Africa, they're going to add this South America section. If we had like complete freedom, an Australia section might be pretty cool.
Yeah, that'd be cool. That would be cool.
But I mean, again, look, we know how slow Disney does anything, and at the moment there's no announcements of any sort of expansions like that. I quite enjoy it as a bit of a more chilled park. I think you start adding sections onto it, it is going to definitely get a lot busier, and it's going to pick up in that sort of in that way. But I think I kind of agree with you. There's nothing that they've announced at the moment that is blowing me away.
Yeah.
An extra Pandora attraction, because I think that land's amazing, but it is very condensed, isn't it? I mean, when you think about it, it's very small. You can do the whole land. If you don't include obviously wait times, you can do the sort of whole land pretty quickly.
Yeah.
If there was something else that they could add to there, I think that'd definitely bring a lot of eyeballs back onto the park.
Yeah, agreed. It's just such a it's an interesting discussion, isn't it? Because we've got two sides of the coin. Like we've got that side of the coin what we were saying where this park isn't trying to be a thrilling park. It's trying to be a chilled park. It's trying to be an aesthetically beautiful park to go to.
Yeah.
And then you've got the flip side of going, yeah, but we still want more to do. And it's like, but what is the balance? It's so difficult because I think me especially, I get consumed in wanting to do stuff. And obviously, the moment I think of the additions to this park, I'm like, are they enough? But at the same time, if you were to go there, and I'm thinking, you go and do Pandora, you go and do Everest, you go and do Cali River Rapids, you go and do Indiana Jones in Canto, a couple of shows. That's a pretty good day. So I think, is it enough? I'm not sure. And it's just until,
I think this park, as you say, absolutely focuses on really. I think it shines when you're not. I mean, obviously, as I said, the ride quality is there. But if you go there with the idea of, I'm not just all about rides today, I think this is where this park really shines. If you decide, I might do a ride and then I'm going to do the Maharaja Jungle Trek. Then I'm going to go have something to eat and maybe I'll have a cocktail or two. Then I'm going to go do another ride. And then next thing and then I said, then you're going to do the Lion King show, which I know we discussed this before we started recording. Neither of us are necessarily massive show guys. No. And I quite often drag my feet a little bit when Soph's saying, let's go see this show. And be like, oh, okay, right. Okay, we'll go see this show. But that's another one where afterwards I'm like, that was incredible. That was absolutely incredible. And I'd go back in a heartbeat. And all of a sudden you start putting these things together when you're not just focused on the rides. And next thing, as you say, you've got a pretty busy day, actually.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly that. And I think one of the other things that this park definitely, in my opinion, has going for it, it's got to be food and drink options. It seems to have a lot. You'll probably know them better than I do as well. So, what have you done? Many of the diner reservation options in this?
Well, it's funny actually. We've done pretty much every quick service. We've done Yak and Yeti. We've done Rainforest Cafe, which I know is on the outside of the park. The two that we've not done, and I'm going to pick your brains on this actually, is we've not done Tiffin's, which is obviously the sort of signature dining at Animal Kingdom, and we've not done Tusker House. Now we did have Tusker House booked a couple of trips ago, and then I can't remember what we ate. I'll tell you what happened. We ate at Gico a couple of days before we were meant to go, and Gico was that good. Yeah, we actually cancelled and rescheduled to go back there again. But I watched your vlog on it. I've seen a few people talking about it. I never hear anyone talk down on Tusker House.
Yeah, I'll be honest with you. I went in there with. I don't want to say low expectations. I went in there with not a lot of expectation of I feel like it's going to be a buffet breakfast. It's going to be nice. The food was unbelievable. Honestly, it really surprised me. And I think Stephen was the same. I think we both had a very similar reaction. That we were like, this food is really good quality. I'm not a character meat guy. I haven't made much of a secret of it. But at the same time, you don't have to be. You don't need to be weird or awkward about it. At the same time, if you don't want to do character meat, don't do it.
Yeah.
And that's where I was at. I'm obviously I was lucky that Chloe was there as well, who was absolutely happy to reap the reward of every character we get over. But food wise and the ambience of the place and the feel of it, amazing. So I'd recommend it, and I'd do it again. I 100% would do it again.
Yeah, I mean, it always pays, doesn't it? When you've got someone, if you're not too into it, it pays to have someone who can absorb all the sort of characters and something. But I mean, so that Tusker House, obviously, you've said it yourself. I've never heard anyone give a bad review of it. You've just said how amazing it is. Yak and Yeti, I think, is when I say reasonably priced, I'm talking about reasonably priced for Disney World standards. Yeah. I think that's a really, really good for what you pay compared to what you'll pay at a lot of other Disney World restaurants. That's one of the ones that is on our every trip list if we can. We absolutely love it there. The food's insane. The atmosphere is insane. The actual setting by Everest. in that Asia area of Animal Kingdom's bang on. And I think if you want to sort of experience some Disney dining options and you don't want to pay through your nose for what some of the more top level ones cost, I think it's such a good option.
Yeah.
And Tiffin's, I mean, another one that you hear rave reviews about. The thing that stopped us going there is, Sophia might be saying this, she's got a bit of a thing of, the signature dining restaurants at Disney that are going to charge you 2 credits, or if you're paying cash, you're going to just pay sort of a huge amount of money for it. She's got a bit of an issue with signature dining in a park restaurant. And I get it in a sense. She feels like if you're going to go to a signature restaurant, it feels nicer to be done with the park. You go back to the resort, you get yourself sort of ready and go to a resort restaurant, as opposed to sort of traipsing around the park all day, being in an absolute mess in that Florida heat, and then going and sitting. Yeah. But again, people talk about the food there. Like, they do a butter chicken that everyone goes mad about. People just rave about it all the time. So I mean, that's one that for me is just because of how much I love this park. It annoys me that I've not done that yet, to be honest. So that is one that's on the agenda. But I think again, Animal Kingdom shines in its quick service.
Yeah. I'm just trying to think, any kind of like quick service, kind of like little food meals or anything that are a go-to for you?
Yeah, I mean, I love Satu'li Canteen. I think Satu'li Canteen with those, the sort of protein and base bowls, they trick you in a holiday where you're eating everything you can that's unhealthy. They trick you into thinking like, oh, this feels quite a healthy meal, this actually. So that's always a go-to. And then obviously Flame Tree as well. I think, provided you're a meat eater anyway, I think Flame Tree Barbecue is always a next level option. I mean, the queues there are always insane. It's obviously one of the more popular areas to eat in the park. Yeah.
Nice. Couple of good shouts. And then, to be fair, like, it'd be fairly remiss of us not to mention a couple of drinks. Because, any it's in the name. Like, is there any good, any good drinks that you're like a go-to for you? Any cocktails, any specific kind of like beverages of any sort?
Yeah, I mean, when I was saying earlier that we sometimes go to Animal Kingdom with zero intention of doing any rides or attractions, I think if you enjoy a beer and you enjoy a cocktail, I think this park is up there with Epcot. I really do. Yeah. I know, like, everyone thinks of Epcot, drinking around the world, etc. But Nomad Lounge, which is attached to Tiffin's, it's not the easiest to get into, but that is such a chill little bar that if you've had, you're having a bit of a manic day in the parks, and you just think, oh, I could go for a beer now, or I could go for a cocktail, and you can just sit by the river, by the bridge to Pandora, chill, have some snacks, because they've got, like, it's one of those areas where they've got a lounge menu that's attached to Tiffin's, so a couple of things off that menu you can have as like eats kind of thing. And again, I think when you talk about the vibes, there's nowhere better to sit and enjoy a cocktail. Then you've got Dower Bar up by the Safari. Again, we've spent countless hours in there just listening to the bands and listening to the music. And next thing you know, your day's almost gone and you're like, wow, we've just done nothing but relax here.
Yeah, love that. And that, to be fair, that is full circle of the discussion of the park, isn't it? It's basically, that is what this park is. And I think that, like, it's just going in there with, I think, level expectations of actually what this park is. It's not a thrill park. It's not trying to be that. The same as kind of what I said about Na'vi River Journey at the beginning. Like, this park isn't trying to be that. It's trying to be a tranquil place to be, like a really nice place. There's nice places to eat. They're all everything quality, like from the food, the restaurants, the drinks, to the rides, to the shows, the attractions, the shops. Everything in there is quality. And like you said, it's at such a level across the board that it's just an unbelievable place to be. So I love it. It's a good shout. I've got to go do one topic because it's everyone's favourite topic when they talk about Animal Kingdom. What's your thoughts? And obviously, you said about Universal Studios. What's your thoughts on the half-day park situation? Because I don't like calling anything a half-day park. I felt rough saying that Universal Studios was a half-day park. But I felt like I need to be honest. I feel like I really did need to be honest about it, because I walked out of that park and I thought, I'm struggling to pick a full day out there. Like, and obviously you can pick a full day. But at the same time, I'm struggling to pick a full day of things I actually have an actual pressing need or want to do. Where are you at with Animal Kingdom? Go on,
You know, I mean, you know what they say? They say acceptance is the first step, is what they say, isn't it? And I think there's definitely an argument to it. I think it's pretty hard to dispute, to be honest. If you go there with the intention of I'm going to go there at rope drop and I'm going to stay until park close.
Yeah.
I think, as you've just said with Universal, I think once you've done the things that you want to do, you're going to be sort of making yourself make up time with things that you're not necessarily that interested in. As I say, unless you are just happy to, as we've just said, sit and sort of soak it in, which obviously you can kill countless hours doing that. I think you are going to struggle for it a little bit. I mean, I think the thing with it is, it doesn't necessarily make it a bad thing if it's a half-day park.
It doesn't.
As I just sort of mentioned, when we've had trips, I remember on our last, not our last trip, the trip before last, when with Soph's mum and little brother. And again, on a couple of days where Soph, Frank, and her mum were going to chill out and relax a bit, me and Soph's little brother went to the park for rope drop and did pretty much everything we wanted. So Flight of Passage, Everest a couple of times actually, because if you rope drop it, you can sort of just keep going around that. Yeah. The safari and some breakfast, and got back to the hotel in sort of late morning. Nice. And in a sense, I know that you could say, oh well, I've sort of done it in quick time, but what that means is that you're freeing up the rest of your day.
Yeah,
and you've done everything you want to do.
Yeah, and it's the thing is, like, I'm not trying to say that this is a half day pass. Like, so for anyone who's coming for me,
it is us. We can say it. It is a little bit.
the difficulty is, I think the argument is that it is if you've done this park more frequently. Yeah, if this is one of your first times doing this park, this is not a half day park, because you're going to go and watch Lion King. You're going to go and watch like Nemo. You're going to do all of the shows. You're going to do all of the rides. You're going to soak everything in, and you're going to get a day out of this easy. Like, not a question. But I think if this is a park where you've seen the show, then there is a little bit of that. When a park is more aligned on 2 or 3 big hitters in terms of shows, if you've seen them before and are like, I've seen them, I'm not that bothered today. You're taking like a few hours out of the day, realistically. But between like queuing, sitting down, waiting for it, watching it, and then coming out, like, you are taking probably 45 minutes out for each show you watch. So yeah, I think it's a tough one, and I think that the discussion would be that, like, once we get the addition of these 3 extra things, obviously we talked about, I think it turns into a full day. I think it just does, because I think it immediately becomes a busier park, like you said. And again, it's a tough one to think about, because also, just because it's busier, does it make it a full day park because you spend more of your time still in the queue? Like, do you know, like,
I know exactly what you mean, and it's funny because I don't want to, like, it's funny how I've kind of flipped. Now I'm playing the critic of Animal Kingdom, but like, for me as well, as we've discussed, those additions as listed with the Indiana Jones overlay, in essence, of Dinosaur, the Encanto ride, and perhaps the addition of a carousel, as I have read that in a few places.
Yeah,
I'm not sure that has any real impact in how I approach Animal Kingdom anyway, for me personally.
Yeah.
I think I'm still going to be focused on the Pandora area, Everest, the safari, and the food. And don't get me wrong, obviously it's something else that when something new comes in, everyone's going to try experience it a couple of times. But unless it sort of blows me away, as it stands at the moment, I can't see it becoming something that on a morning I'm like, we need to get to Animal Kingdom so I can ride Indiana Jones.
Yeah, I was going to say, does the effect it have? And inevitably, it'll become a little bit busier because there's new attractions, so people are going to want to go to do new stuff. Does in effect what it actually do take? I don't know. Say there's, and I don't know the numbers. Say there's 20,000 people in the park normally. Does it take those 20,000 people and disperse it across the park, opposed to the bulk of it being in Pandora at the start of the day? Does it then spread that a little bit more so that something like Flight of Passage is a lower weight? You've got more of a weight over in Indiana Jones, but more of a weight over in Encanto. So you've got the same level of people in there, but it's just spread across the park. Is that essentially what you're going to do?
I mean, it's hard to argue, isn't it? You obviously, any new attraction, even if it's, even Fast and Furious or Universal, it takes some people go into that queue, don't they? There's always going to be someone who goes into it. So it is taking queues out of the park. But from what I find it hard to believe that for everyone rope dropping Animal Kingdom, there's going to be that much of a deviation of people thinking, you know what, I'm actually going to go straight to Encanto over flight of passage. I just can't see it having that sort of impact.
Yeah.
And if that is the intended impact, to spread, as you say, pull some people from Pandora, spread the weight around, etc. I can't. I don't know. I don't buy that as of yet.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see. And I think that, these updates, Zootopia, I think, like we said, it comes at the end of the year. But the other stuff, I mean, we're looking like 2-3 years time at least.
Oh yeah, easy.
I know the work's is started on Dinoland USA already. So like inevitably that's it's happening. And I think it's going to be a phased opening, isn't it? I think that the Indiana Jones ride opens before the Encanto ride.
Right. Okay.
So, they are basically planning on getting that open and then still carrying on with, construction, getting the rest of the land done in that time. So, we'll see. It'll be interesting. It'll be interesting to see that the park might change slightly. But yeah, to be honest with you, as much as anything, I just wanted to get into the chat about it. It was fun to do a discussion about this park. But
yeah,
just to rattle off a few things about the park. What's and there, just quick question. Favorite ride in the park?
Everest. Gotta be Everest.
Yeah, all day long.
Yeah, I think even with the broken Yeti, it's still.
Yeah, still. I mean, it's still a good ride. And it still puts a smile on your face every single time, doesn't it? Yeah, absolute top tier. Favorite restaurant in the park?
I think Yak and Yeti as far as table service, and then Satuli, as I say, for quick service. I don't think you can beat either of them.
Yeah, good shout. And I suppose off the back of that, is there a favorite food? Is there a favorite dish?
Pretty much every time I go to Yak and Yeti, even though I tell myself to try something new, I have the hibachi steak and shrimp, and it's just every time it's just insane. If you like steak and you like shrimp, you just can't go wrong with it. I think it's for what. Again, going back to price, it's like mid-30s, I think, mid-$30.
Okay.
Which, if you went to another restaurant in Disney World, say you went somewhere in, I don't know, the Contemporary or something, you're going to pay through your nose for that. So a really good option, I think.
Yeah, and good quality food. I think that's the one thing we have to get.
Yeah.
You're going to get good quality. And favorite drink in the park? Is there a specific drink?
So it's to be honest, I've mulled this over a bit, and it's a bit of a boring one. But the Hawk's Grog Ale that you can get from Pongu Pongu, in other words, the green beer, you'll have seen someone drinking it around Pandora.
Yeah.
It's just there's nothing too special about it. It's just a really nice, refreshing sort of fruity IPA that on a hot day when you're walking around Pandora or you're walking around Animal Kingdom in general, just hits that spot. It's bang on.
Yeah, that's what you need, isn't it? Sometimes hot day. Nice cold beer, perfect, love it. Good shout. So to be fair, I knew you to come to. I knew you to come to get some of these recommendations, and I'll try and take them on 100%. I love that. I love talking about Animal Kingdom. Good, it's a good chat, and I think just to move on to your next trip, because I'm excited. I'm excited to hear about your trip. Obviously you've got one lined up. We said that at the start, but when is the next trip? When are you going?
Yeah, so we're going back end of September this year, which is another month sort of ticked off in the when you visit. Because we've never been in September before. We've been in the back end of October, but September's a new one for us. We're hoping to experience these sort of mythical lower wait times that everyone talks about going in September that we've never had a chance to yet.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see. And how long are you going for then?
So we're doing the best part of 3 weeks this time, given it's a honeymoon trip. So we thought we'd sort of really go for it. We've never gone for longer than 2 weeks before. And as we've said before, no matter how long in our experience, no matter how long we've gone for, whether it's a 1 week, 10 days or 2 weeks, we're always like, oh, could have just done with a couple more days, just a couple more days. So we're hoping this scratches that itch.
Yeah, hopefully. And I mean, obviously in those 3 weeks, you're going to get a lot ticked off. Inevitably, you're going to do a lot. And obviously, I've seen your stories. I've spoke to you. Where are you staying? What hotels are you doing on this trip?
So we're doing a bit of a split stay for the first time here, which it made me a little bit nervous at first because we're staying at 6 hotels over the 3 weeks. Which
I love this.
Sounds even as I'm saying it though, it sounds pretty crazy because you're like you could sort of think to yourself, God, you're going to lose 6 days moving between resorts and things. But having spoke to some of the cast members over there, what they've all been so great and they've given some really good tips. And basically, if you're staying on property, you just on the day you're checking out, you just go to Bell Services and dump your bags with them and tell them where you're going. Yes. So you're checking out of, I don't know, Saratoga or wherever, you're moving to Caribbean Beach. On your checkout day, dump your bags with Bell Services. Say, I'm actually moving to Caribbean Beach today. Can you deal with these? And in essence, they just said, when I spoke to the fella on the phone, he says, just make that a full park day. Go, enjoy yourself. And then by the time you turn up at your new resort, in theory, touch wood, all your bags and things are there waiting for you. So the first stay we're doing is Saratoga Springs, which is a resort we've never done before, but we've just been desperate to be able to walk to and from Disney Springs.
Oh, that's gonna be so cool, so cool. Like, just again, chilled vibes, being able to just like mooch on over whenever you want to, like no pressure, nice little walk. Won't hope. I mean, it's gonna be hot because it's still like it's Florida, but like you're gonna be coming out of the really really hot weather, so it shouldn't be quite as bad. But
yeah, it should be a little bit more bearable, shouldn't it? And I think as well, does the rain sort of ease up a little bit as you get out of the summer months?
I think September is going to be a fairly good month for the dry and a little bit.
Yeah. So I mean that should be I mean, obviously you're always going to get caught in it at one point or another, aren't you? But that should be decent to be able to trek back and forth from Disney Springs. Before Frank came on the scene, we used to always sort of look over there and be like, it'd be so nice to be able to go. You've had a full day at the park, to go have a few drinks on an evening and sort of be able to just walk back because you're next door. Obviously, with Frank here now, there won't be as many later nights at the bars and such, but we can still make the most of it through the day with lunches and things. From there, we're moving over to Yacht Club just for a couple of days because we really wanted to tick off one of the resorts that's in that Epcot area.
Yeah.
And again, just be able to walk back and forth from Epcot. With pretty much everything that we've picked is due to the proximity of something. To be able to finish a World Showcase and walk back to the resort. From there, we're moving over to the Poly, which is the one resort that we've actually stayed at before, and we just love it so much. I think I've said to you many times, that's easily my favourite resort on Disney property. I just love the theming, I love the vibes there, and I think it does that as you want to go out and be at the parks all day? Yeah, fine. If not, you want to just pretend you're on a sort of summer holiday somewhere, it ticks that box as well.
It's just soak up, 100%.
Then we're heading over to Wilderness Lodge, which is again, I mean, that's not necessarily in close proximity because even though it's in the Magic Kingdom Resort, it's obviously not in walking distance. You need to get the bus or not the bus, sorry, it's the boat, isn't it, from Wilderness Lodge over to the Magic Kingdom, unless you want to get yourself to the Poly first. And then finally, we're heading over to Animal Kingdom, which is just something that again we've kind of always wanted to do, just to be able to wake up on a morning and look out and hopefully, touch wood, depending on the room we get, see the animals. And
have you got a Savannah View?
We have got a Savannah View room, but as you know, with all these resorts, there's going to be Savannah View and there's going to be Savannah View in there.
Yeah. Like just on the edge, after the car park.
Yeah, exactly. I could just imagine that. I've said so. I'm like, just taper your expectations because we might be looking at like the corner of the gate and a tree, basically. So we'll have to wait and see.
I'm sure it'll be good, though. Like honestly, which resort are you looking forward to the most? Do you reckon?
Probably Animal Kingdom, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think there's just something about that resort that it's always been on our sort of bucket list to get done, particularly with the Savannah View. And I just think that resort in general, even if you forget about the animals and the Savannah View, the lobbies and just the layout of that resort is just insane, isn't it?
Yeah. I know you're a big fan. Obviously, you've been to GECO. You recommended GECO to me a few times.
GECO and Sanaa, I think, are both just next level.
Yeah. I loved Sanaa so much, man.
Yeah.
Loved it. Need to do it again. Need to, 100%. Amazing. I mean, it sounds like such a good trip. And obviously, you're going for a long time. So I feel like it's going to be a lot of parks. All of the Disney parks, all the Universal parks as well. What was there?
Yeah, hopefully. So, I mean, this is obviously, I'm sort of bowing to your knowledge here because obviously we've never done Epic and that we're hoping that we can get it done on this. Well, we are going to get it done on this trip. We're just at the moment getting the the standard Universal ticket, which is the 14 days at IOA and Universal, and the 1 day Epic. Yeah. And the only thing that's kicking me about that is I know I've just got this vibe that we're going to do that day at Epic, and we're going to be like, how do we get back there?
Yeah. That is the thing. And the thing is, I'll be honest with you, I haven't looked at the queue times that much, like to know kind of where it's at the moment. I'm not really sure. I don't know if you've been looking at it to kind of get a gauge of it.
I haven't, but from sort of content I've been seeing people put out there, it's not, there's been the odd blip when rides gone down and everyone's sort of jumped back to it, but it doesn't seem as shocking as I kind of expected it to be honest.
Yeah. The thing I will say, and it's weird because you think of an IOA and Hagrid's has always got a queue, Velocicoaster is probably always going to have a queue because they're the big hitters in the park. They're going to pull everything to them. Whereas with Epic Universe, you've got, I think is it 11 rides, I think? Well, you've got 11 rides, all of which are really good.
Yeah.
So like arguably there are some that are better than others, don't be wrong, and I obviously get into it, but like they're like everything is worth going on. So it's not a case of, I don't want to just like slam a ride, but I feel like I'm going to. And like if I'm talking about, I don't know, like talking about Universal Studios, like you're going to go in there and go, well, I want to do Gringotts, and I want to do like The Mummy, but I'm not going to do Fast and Furious. Like, there isn't that in Epic Universe at all because of it's purpose built, and it's exceptional. Like genuinely, like I'm sure that you've seen a lot about it, but if you watch vlogs on it, you watch people like on ride like that.
Yeah. I mean, I like a lot of people, I originally thought to myself, I'm going to stay off socials. I'm not going to see any spoilers. Yeah. And then I am the kind of person who I'm halfway through a video and I'm like, oh, you've just watched one. And at that point I'm like, well, I may as well watch them all. So yeah, I mean, I've seen a lot of the POVs and stuff, and there is some attractions that I am desperate to get on. And it actually leads me on to something I was going to ask you, because when I'm thinking about the different gates, I'm absolutely buzzing that they've given Dark Universe, some pop. Like I'm huge on Universal Classic Monsters. I know it's a bit of a niche group who are, but I am like massive on Universal. Obviously, Harry Potter is the signature franchise, isn't it, of Universal in essence, up there with Fast and Furious. Big fan of Super Nintendo. Always used to love those games. How to Train Your Dragon, right? 2 questions. First of all, I've not watched any of them. So first question, well, that's what I was, well, you've answered it already. I was going to say, first question is, would you recommend watching them just off the base of the film? And second question was, do you think they need watching ahead of actually visiting Isle of Berk?
So it's an interesting question, and I would tell anyone. I didn't watch How to Train Your Dragon until last year. So I'll be honest with you, my perception was that this is a kid's film. And I'll be quite honest, that is why I didn't watch it for so long. I then did watch it, and I thought the first one was brilliant. Like absolutely brilliant. The second one, as a sequel, is never as good as the first, but it's a really good film. So those 2 films, I believe that the land of Isle of Berk is set in between those 2 films. So I would recommend 100% watch it, because I feel like you'll get more out of it. You'll understand the characters, you'll understand the land. And I think like with anything, the moment you've got that immersiveness of knowing what a land is and what it's trying to be, you're going to get more out of it. So
it makes a difference, doesn't it? Yeah, it does make a difference.
100%. And I will say that I genuinely, and I think the third one's a good film, don't be wrong, but like it doesn't live up to the first 2, in my opinion. But 100% worth watching, like without a question. So
okay,
yeah,
sold. I mean, Soph's still not seen the final Harry Potter, which drives me insane. That is crazy. That isn't it? I know. I'm like, what's wrong with you? You got to do that. But she's seen all the How to Train Your Dragon films, so we did agree a few days ago. I was like, look, I will watch them if you sit and watch Deathly Hallows Part 2, and that's a fair trade-off. So yeah, fair enough. Okay, I'll add it to the list.
Yeah, definitely do. Like you'll honestly, that is, it's one of the best lands. It's the one that surprised me the most. Like I obviously went into that liking How to Train Dragon and enjoying it and kind of knowing that this was going to be a fun area, but like for you to appreciate the scale of this area and like what they built is something special. And I will say that like there's a lot in there. There's a lot going on. It's a big land, and I don't want to like spoil it, but everything in there is worth doing.
Right. Okay. Fair enough. I mean, that's it. So when everything got announced and I went through the list of the different lands, it was kind of the one for me, having not seen the films, where I was like, oh, that's quite bold to go with that as a full land kind of thing, and everything else I kind of got. So I'm ready to invest a little bit into it and hopefully be swayed a bit. Yeah,
nice. I'm excited to hear what your view is on the park as a whole, because I mean, I can talk from my experience. I loved it. Like genuinely, I think it's an incredible park, and I think it's such a different experience to anything that we've experienced anywhere because it's a custom built. It's from the bottom up. Like it should be, and I've said this quite a few times. This should be the best park in Orlando. There's no argument. Like you've got a blank canvas. Like everything in there is fresh. Everything in there is modern. In there, in theory, should be. Don't have that Fast and Furious issue. I know that Fast and Furious is taking a battery. Like, like you don't have that issue of you've got a park and you've added stuff onto it and something hasn't been like that good and it hasn't landed. You've got a park where everything you put in there is really good.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I mean that goes back to what I was sort of saying about earlier on. Like, if they can do that, I just say if you can get, how many rides did you say there was? 12, 11, 12?
I think I want to say there's 11, but there might be more than that. Probably 13. 3 in Mario. There's 2 in Dark Universe. There is, I suppose, 3 in Celestial Park. You've got 1 in Harry Potter, and then there's 3 in Burke. So what's that? 12? 12?
I mean, either way, I suppose whatever the number, if you're getting double-digit rides into a park and all of them are bangers, then you've done well, haven't you? Basically.
Yeah, literally. I think the only one that might be a pass is like the carousel in Celestial Park, which I'm not saying like it's obviously I'm not the target audience, but like that's the only reason why I'd say that. But I think everything else is a must do at some point. So yeah, very excited for you to do it.
Love it.
I'm intrigued to hear what you say about it. But obviously, this trip is going to be a banger. Like absolutely going to be amazing. Have you got any kind of like new activity planned? Anything? I know we talked before. You're in the bubble. You're going to be in the bubble a lot. Is there any kind of new activities outside of the bubble at all, or anything? Even in Disney that you're thinking we might do as new stuff?
Do you know? I've said before, and this is one of the things I really picked up from you is I am starting to get more of an itch to venture out the bubble. At the moment, I think I said before, like Bob Iger laughs when I arrive because he knows I'm going to buy every $6 bottle of water on site. I'm going to buy every pack of crisps for $5 on site. And I mean, I'm watching your vlog with Stephen and Chloe, and I think he picked up 6 Gatorades for the price of what sort of 1 and a bit would have cost him in the parks.
Yeah.
And I was thinking to myself, God damn it, James, just live a little, venture out, take the step. And obviously, I'm seeing you eat at places like Cheesecake Factory. Things that never really appealed to me, but from speaking to you and chatting to other people, it is giving me the itch a little bit just to venture out. I mean, I've never been to Walmart.
Hey, it's an experience in itself. Just yeah, you got to do it. I like, obviously I can say it because I enjoy doing it and it's been part of my trips for a long time. But I think that doing these kind of other little things outside of the parks, it's a nice little break from the parks as well. Because we love Disney, we love Universal, but sometimes it's nice to like step out of that bubble for a little bit and then go, I'm ready to go back in now. I'm getting back to the park, and I've got some snacks, walked around, I've done some stuff and eaten some food. Like it makes the trip a different trip. I think that's probably the easiest way to put it.
Yeah, I think one of the things that in recent years, it's sort of put us off a little bit is having Frank. Obviously, when you've got a little one, it's like an extra layer of push chairs and high chairs for cars and all, and booster seats and things and that. And obviously, I think I told you about Honor's last trip when we were paying for Ubers that had booster seats in them. They were charging us just astronomical fees. I mean. Yeah, they quoted us one of the nights. They quoted us 100 and it was 100 and something to get back from Universal to Port Orleans, which is just it's insanity, isn't it? But what we have got now is we've actually got sort of a travel car seat with us that we take with us, folds down really easily. So I think because we don't do a car, just because even if we did venture out, I feel like we wouldn't get the full benefit of the car because we'd still be spending most of the time in the bubble. But now we've got this sort of travel car series and things, we might start looking at, getting the odd Uber to Walmart, the odd Uber to Cheesecake Factory, these kind of things, and just branch out a little bit. I mean, the Soph was always keen in trips pre-Frank about the outlets. We've not been since Frank arrived. And I mean, I came back with all kinds of clobber after those visits. So I wouldn't mind heading back there either.
Yeah, nice. Well, hopefully we'll see what happens. See what you fit in. I mean, inevitably you've got to try and fit 7 parks in. You doing any of the water parks as well? I know you're a big Volcano Bay fan.
Oh yeah, I can't go and not go to Volcano Bay. That'd break my heart. And I mean, the thing is, it's funny with the annual passes. We at the moment don't have the water park edition on the annual pass, but and we didn't know this. This has just worked out quite fortunately. If you're checking into a deluxe resort on check-in day, you get free access to a water park.
I didn't know that.
I didn't know it either. I did not know it either. So basically, on every day for instance, when we're checking out at Saratoga and we're checking into Yacht Club, that day we could go to Typhoon Lagoon or Blizzard Beach. I don't know which one will be open or whatever. But we can go there, for included in the price of the hotel, I guess. So we'll definitely be ticking a few off. As you know, I think Volcano Bay is, every time we visit, it's one of our favorite days of the trip. It doubles as a park day and a chill day, and I think that is, it doesn't get the shine because it's not one of obviously the main parks in Walt Disney World and Universal, but I still look back on that water park and think that this were perfect. They nailed this. Yeah,
100%. I think that it's interesting because obviously it's closing later this year as well, isn't it? First time that's going to have a scheduled refurbishment at all in 8 years, is it?
I mean, it's a long time. It's the first one, isn't it? I mean, when I first read news of that, before it had given me the date, that sent me into panic. I was like, oh my God, please do not be closed while we're there. But as you say, I think it's, off the top of my head, I think it's very back end of this year, even maybe start of next year, if memory serves me right.
Yeah. Interesting though, because I think that, I will be honest, I think that it's been a while. And they haven't said what they're necessarily going to do, but I think that just like a bit of a tidy up. I mean, that's the best. That's the best way to put it. Like, and ultimately, only because of age. Like, not because it's a catty park. It's not. It's always been a stunning park, and I think that's the thing, isn't it? But I think that anything needs updating, and anything that's out in the sun all day is going to get faded, and it's going to begin to look more tired, isn't it? So
I think you notice that in a water park as well, a little bit more than you might do in a. I think when a water park starts to turn and get a bit grim, I think people pick up on it a lot more than maybe in one of the the standard parks. So I think it's good that they're doing it. It's good that they're doing it, and they're going to keep on top of it because, as I say, it's a stunning water park, and I do hope they keep on top of it and keep it fresh.
100%. Nice. Well, obviously the trip is not long. You said you're in double digits. We were talking about before we kind of came on. You're in, was it 99 days today?
99 days today.
Yeah. Nice. That's when the proper countdown starts. I always feel like I get into double digits and it starts to go quite quick, doesn't it? So
it's also where my capacity at work starts to drop pretty significantly. So I need to keep on top of that because without that we're not going. So
nice, love it. Very excited. Just to head on to the next little section of the podcast. I don't think we did this when we did our first episode. I feel like because this is Keep Up, Update and Close, and I don't think Keep Up, Update and Close came in till, I don't know, maybe about like episode 25 or something like that. And I can't remember what number yours was. You were in the teens, I want to say.
Yeah, I think it came in. It was pretty soon after, a couple of episodes after, I think.
Yeah, which is typical, really, whatever. But obviously, we're doing it now. You're back, so we're doing it, and I've been as mean as ever. So, the options that I've given you, I've gone for Slinky Dog Dash, your favourite Everest, and Tron. So there's a bit of a coaster theme, Disney coasters. What are you thinking?
So, funnily enough, the difficulty with this came with the keep and update. The closure one for me was actually pretty easy. I'm gonna give Slinky the boot, I think, because
it's gone.
it's gone. It's gone. I've got to give it the kick in because I think it's. First of all, I can never withdraw myself from thinking about wait times as well, and this attracts some monster wait times. And you have to stand in that queue that's outside with just the fans as well, and it's just brutal. So I think it's got to go. It's got to go. This were tough though because I think if I could update Tron to actually add some tracking and and build on the duration of the ride, a huge update. I think I'd update Tron and keep Everest as it is because I've never seen the Yeti swing his arm down, and what you've never had, you never miss.
Yeah,
So like but realistically, I think it would be great to at one point in my life experience the Yeti actually swinging his arm down in my favorite ride in Walt Disney World. So I'm gonna update Everest, get that Yeti swinging,
Yeah.
Tron, and yeah, Slinky's getting kicked to the curb, unfortunately.
Yeah, like, it's a fair shout. It is a fair shout. You know, I had an episode, I can't remember what it was, maybe 3-4 weeks ago. I think it was Rachel's Walt Disney World, and I think I gave her Tron as one of the options. And she said, "Why does it go round twice?" And what a great shout! I mean, like, I know it's such a simple thing to say, in it. Honestly, it was such a great shout, and like, she was brilliant. She was absolutely brilliant. I thought, like, how cool would that be for it to like absolutely rocket through the loading bay, and then just like, because you can, you know, it's such a short ride, 47 seconds or something like that. Like, I recorded it on my Meta glasses, and like, and I know everyone always goes, "It's really short." And I recorded it on the Meta glasses when I did it on the last trip, and I clicked the glasses and I came off it, and it was 47 seconds. I was like, "No, this really is really quick. It's not very long at all."
That's it. I mean, first of all, before I forget to say, those Meta glasses were sick, mate. Some of the stuff you got off them was absolutely quality.
Cool, yeah.
But I think that is it. Not to do a sort of deep dive on Tron, but the problem is, I know we've said it before. Once you've done the launch, you know, that's what you're there for, isn't it? You're there for the launch, and then once the launch is done, you sort of it's over before you know it. So yeah, if it shot round again and you got to fly through the loading bay, as you say, for a second time, that would be insane. Yeah, that's a good shout.
Cool. Yeah. But yeah, anyway, just a random tangent on Tron. And just to head into the final 5 questions, I've made 5 new questions. I've made them fairly aimed at you, because you've done the original 5.
Let's do it.
So let's go for it. Well, I've gone for one part for the rest of your life. Which one is it? And I'm not angling at anything.
Well, obviously, I've not done Epic yet, and I've not heard anyone come away with anything but glowing results. I've seen people who I would consider full-on Disney homers coming out of that park being like, "This is something that you've never experienced before." Until I see it myself, I've got to stick with Animal Kingdom.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, that's
got to
fair.
be done.
Yeah, and I'll ask you the same question when you've been in Epic. I'll ask you.
Yeah, definitely.
Obviously, we're talking about food, drinks, all that kind of stuff. Top 3 drinks in Disney. I'm very intrigued to know this.
For me, the number 1 drink in Disney, and you'll have heard me mention this many times before, is the Hippopotami Mai Tai at Trader Sam's. If you can, I honestly recommend to anyone, if you enjoy a cocktail, even if you enjoy a beer, just try at one point, take the afternoon, try get in there. It's a nightmare to get in there, but try get it done, because they do some absolutely quality cocktails in a really fun environment. The Yeti Sunset from Animal Kingdom is really nice. That's over a Thirsty River bar by Everest.
Yeah.
So, you know, you can get off Everest, go get yourself that. It's Jack Daniels with strawberry and lychee lemonade. Oh, it's next level. And I had a mull over for number 3. The El Diablo Margarita at Choza at Epcot, which is basically, in essence, you know, quite a spicy margarita that you can get from... so not in... oh my God, I forgot. What's the inside one at Epcot called? The one inside the Mexico Pavilion.
Oh, I can't think of the name.
You know which one I'm on about, don't you?
I know which one you're on about.
It's crazy that this is going to do my head in that I can't think of this. But either way, it's the outside stand, Choza de Margarita, and the El Diablo from there. Just nice. Again, on a nice hot day, spicy margarita just to help you around World Showcase.
Yeah, love that. Some good shouts. To be fair, like, if anyone wants the recommendation, James got all the food and drink ones. Like, you know where they're at. Like, honestly, if I'm compiling a list, I'm coming to you first. Like, always.
Well, yeah, you just won't be able to shut me up though, because once you get me talking about food and drink in Disney, that's it. It's go time then.
No, you're good. You're absolutely good. Like, inevitably, we've done an Animal Kingdom one. We've got to get you on for another one at some point. Do food and drink.
Definitely, let's do it.
Yeah. The going from drinks then. Let's go to snacks. Top 3 snacks in Disney.
All right, so this is basic, and I bet so many people would say this, but so many people would say it because they are just next level. You've got to throw a Gideon's cookie in there.
Oh,
they are like, we've tried so many from there over the trips, and I've yet to have any that I think, oh, that weren't that good.
Yeah.
Every single one, I'm like, this is next level. I get the hype entirely. The mini mango pie from Yak and Yeti. This is funny because a lot of people who live in America say you can just get these from the shops. You can get them from Target. You can get them from different places. But you know what I'm like? I'm like, no, I'd rather pay 6 times the price in Disney and have it there. You know. So that's the second one. And then I thought about this. This is It's a bit grim, this, and even as I'm going to explain it, you know Wetzel's pretzels?
Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah, they do a cheese dog. Even as I'm talking about it, I'm like, oh, it's basically a huge hot dog wrapped in pretzel and then like deep fried in cheese. You will feel like utter death after eating this.
This-
Let me tell you. But while you're eating it, it's
Yeah.
bliss.
This sounds totally up my street. I'm going to be honest with you.
Oh, it's
I'm,
good. It's
I'm
good.
never seen this. Like, where have I been?
It's just in. I mean, I'm assuming they're all over the shop, but this is just by where they have the band and the musical performances in Disney Springs, just by World of Disney.
Yeah.
There's a little stand there, and they do them there. And I remember being the first time when we Soph, I was like, I'm going to try this. Soph said that just looks terrible. It just looks like you're going to have a heart attack in 10 minutes. And about 45 minutes later, I remember being stood at the bus bay, like hunched over one of the barriers, like I need to get on this bus now.
Yeah. Literally,
it did damage, but it was worth every bite.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, good shout. To be fair, like sometimes what you need, isn't it? You just need. I mean, it sounds ridiculous, but sometimes you need like proper dirty, greasy food, which is
Oh yeah,
which is sometimes where it's at.
absolutely.
Obviously, when you do it every day for 14 days in Orlando, like by the time you get home, you're like, I can't wait to see a vegetable. But like,
Yeah, I need a water fast for like 4 days or something. Yeah, exactly.
love it, amazing. Staying on snacks, and I love an overrated question. Most overrated viral snack. I don't know whether or not this is a bit specific, but I don't know. What are you thinking?
No, I've got one actually. One sprung straight to mind. This is quite ironic, given I've just mentioned a type of sort of pretzel dog in the past. Anything for me that is just pretzel. So be that the Shrexel at Universal, be that the giant Mickey ones. For me personally, and I know a lot of people love them. Some people absolutely adore them, especially if it comes with cheese sauce or different sauces. For me, it is literally just like eating a dry lump of bread.
Yeah.
And I know a lot of people swear by them. A lot of people go to Disney World and they're like, "Oh, I can't wait to get the pretzel." You can keep it for me because they're not the cheapest either, and they do look cool. I mean, I've got a camera roll full of pictures of the Shrexel, held next to my own face, etc., all that kind of jazz. But no, as far as actually eating it, it's a hard pass.
Yeah, I feel you. To be fair, I'm a pretzel guy. I like a pretzel, but I do feel you because like they are basic as anything. It is one of the most basic foods you can get in a theme park, and I will say, the Shrexel is the worst pretzel I've ever had.
I think the thing is with them as well, as you say, it's like because I don't mind a pretzel. Don't get me wrong, but because of the size, I mean, the size is kind of the thing that sort of entices you to them in a way. But you have a couple of bites, and you're like, oh, that's not bad, and then you realise that you've literally eaten 1/20th of what's left. Yeah. And you're like, oh, this is going to get tiring pretty quick, I think.
Yeah, just pure dodgy, like stodgy dough and, and salt. Yeah.
Yeah.
Love it, amazing. And then final question. We're still on food. One place in Orlando you'd love to eat which you haven't eaten at yet. So this is I'm probably actually off site. Let's be honest.
We touched on this a little bit because on site, as I mentioned earlier, I would like to do Tiffin's, just because I'd like to be able to say, this is my favorite park and I've done everything, all the restaurants here. But as I've mentioned to you, two came to mind just from following you pretty much. The first one being Cheesecake Factory because of I've heard from both you and Chloe and Stephen that the portion sizes are just insane. So I'm all about that. Any sort of challenge like that, I'd love to take. And secondly, I've heard you rave about Olive Garden as well.
Yeah. Olive Garden's one of those. It's like it's not fine dining. It's not like don't go there expecting anything like unbelievable, but like value for money, portion size, like and just to feel like you're getting some like hearty American Italian food down there. Perfect. Like big old pasta dish. You're going to get breadsticks for days. You're going to have like soup or salad, like unlimited refills, and it's not going to cost you like an arm and a leg. So tick a lot of boxes.
Yeah. What's the comp in terms of the UK? Are we talking like sort of Frankie and Benny's kind of thing, or?
Food-wise, I would probably like pasta dishes and stuff. I would compare it more to probably more a prezzo for me. Like I do feel like they're like, in my opinion, I feel like the pasta dishes that they are like a higher quality, I certainly wouldn't say they feel cheap. But yeah, like it's kind of, I suppose, between a Prezzo and a Frankie and Benny. Like it's somewhere in between that like kind of area. But yeah, would definitely recommend. And like I said, its value for money is pretty good. So yeah.
That's, I mean, because it's, I think, as you say, a lot of places as well off property give a lot of select, especially I know you've mentioned Cheesecake Factory's got like a Bible of selection that you can go through.
Yeah.
And given we've got, you know, Frankie's your stereotypical 4-year-old. Chips nuggets. So to find somewhere that he can definitely get something to eat is can be actually more of a challenge than you think in the parks. So no, that's a good option to note down.
Yeah, nice, cool, good shout. Honestly, I'm all questioned out. I'm done. I've asked you a lot of questions. Asked you a lot of questions about Animal Kingdom, food, drinks, what you're doing on your trip, like you name it. We've covered it. So, mate, it has been absolutely a pleasure. Like to be able to speak to you again about all of these things and to find out about your trip and see how you're doing as well. It's been an absolute delight. So I really, really appreciate it.
Oh, cheers, mate. Well, as you know, I love gabbing with you. So anytime, been absolutely my pleasure.
So this was the episode with James from Snacks, Beers and Mickey Ears. As ever, it was an absolute delight to chat with James. He's so much fun to chat with and genuinely such a good mate to have made from this amazing community. So thank you for James for coming on. I hope you all enjoyed it as much as I enjoyed recording it. And I will speak to you all in the next one.